Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Friday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel here with Joel Elconin and Dennis Dick. On the show today, we have a jobs number coming out here shortly at 8:30 Eastern Time. So we're going to talk about the implications of that. Will that move the market? We'll see. We had a surprisingly heavy stream of earnings yesterday. Palo Alto, Broadcom, GameStop, a few others. So we'll try to discuss as many of those as we'd like. And yeah, just kind of talking through the biggest movers from yesterday and this morning. Joel, what's shaking in the overnight markets?
S&P futures are trading down 450 at 2874.50. Pre-market high stands at 2881.50, so that's a good target on the upside. Things open up after that, but I think that's going to be an important resistance level this morning and through the jobs number. On the downside, we got the 2871. That doesn't have much relevance, but 2868 does, and that was our low from yesterday's session. So there's your big number. Crude just flirt with $68, up 13 cents at 16.90. Gold hanging above 1,200 here, up 230 at 1206.50. Silver up a couple pennies as well at 14.20, and Bitcoin trying to repel away from the 6,000 level, but down 67.50 on the SIBO contract at 63.40. Dennis, looking at the S&Ps moving here, and boy, oh boy, things are quiet ahead of the jobs number.
Yeah, it is quiet. And this is calm before the storm, or is it just going to be not a lot of action here? We're going to find out here in about 27 minutes. Obviously, banks is something I always watch very closely when we get the jobs data. If you can get a hot number, obviously that can be, indicative that they could raise rates sooner than later. So or actually opposite. But anyways, you got to watch the banks. Those are the ones that you're typically going to move, usually with jobs data.
Okay. All right. Actually, kind of the end of the season and stuff, but we could go over some earnings.
Yeah. Well, we can go some earnings. Let's talk the pot stocks here again. There's a lot of people that are trading these things. I'm pair trading them all. I got different pairs on again, always exotic stuff going on. But I can tell you, these things are just absolutely wild. Even in the after hours session, check out the range from Tilray last night. This thing got down to the 74 handle. I wake up, it's back in the 81 handle. Now it's back to 78. I mean, these things are so wild. Last night, CGC was down about $2. Got some love from Jim Cramer on Mad Money last night and then started to lift. And that has continued on into the pre-market here. CGC now trading up. And actually, so you got Tilray down, CGC slightly up. We want to look at the other ones too. CRON slightly up. And MJ is trading in the green, slightly ahead of today's trading as well. But even the pre-market in these things, Joel, is wild.
Yeah. Which one do you want to take a look at? I mean, they're all. I guess who was it? Northland Capital, was that the one that got it going yesterday?
That was a downgrade to Tilray, and you can see it actually came down and tried to retest the previous day's lows, which would put it down almost $90 or down almost 20% again, because at least from those highs, not on the day, but from where it got up to $97 down to 76. But I mean, these are extreme moves. This thing's like a 15 to 20% price range every single day.
Yeah, boy, oh boy. I guess you got two lows in the same area here. For Tilray, I mean, you have to say that 73.54 and 76.35. I guess I would just, I would look at the lower one, 73.54, if you're trying to protect some longs. After that, you got a steep drop to 69.03 and then a $10 drop down to 59. So there's just a lot of air in here. I think for longs, the best thing you could hope for is you hold those two lows and you just kind of consolidate here for a little bit and then make another push at the highs. CGC, who got the party started here, that held up a little bit better yesterday than the other ones. I would see if it gets up near 52.40, that's the all-time closing high, and that was the high on the 4th as well. So, since the highs are a little bit of ways away, I'd maybe, just keep an eye on the all-time closing highs and see if you can get above those levels.
Jump over to the earnings parade. So about 5 major reports from last night. Let's go some of the tech stocks here first, maybe Spencer Israel. Let's go to Broadcom. This thing we talked about being on a nice uptrend here as of yesterday or 2 days ago on the show. And then yesterday, they just hit everything tech, and this was a victim as well, bouncing right back here on the good earnings report up to 225. So showing some life, although I don't like all those pesky highs in the 230 area. Give us the numbers, Joe. Break down those technicals.
All right, and before I do that, I just want to mention. I forgot to mention this at the top of the show. We are having some bugs with our chat today on the main site, but the chat is up and running on the YouTube, and some of us I know are in there. But just so you know, no one is being blocked intentionally from the pre-market prep chat. We had an update roll out last night, and that is the reason for some bugs this morning that our developers are working through. That said, AVGO reporting yesterday after the bell, Q3 EPS $4.98. What am I reading? $4.98 versus a $4.82 estimate. So a nice 16-cent beat there. Sales $5 billion, a little over $5 billion, which is in line with the estimate there. Q4 adjusted sales guidance coming in line.
Joel, I gave my thoughts. 230. Okay. I don't like all that overhead supply in that area, so I'll let you jump into it.
Yeah, 227.89 is your pre-market high. You backed off $3 since that, so I'd have to call this 228 to 230 level. You nailed that. And I think we mentioned this yesterday. There are all those highs at 229 and change. If in fact you can clear that, then you got a gap to fill. But right now you're $2 off the pre-market high, $5 off that level. I think it will definitely repel it if it can get there the first time. Minor support holding in here since that 4 a.m. open. What's been your low? Your low since the 4 a.m. open has been 222.45. So if you're leaning on a very, very minor support level, there it is for you.
Continuing the party of earnings, Palo Alto Networks is getting a nice lift as well. So good for these couple of stocks there. Again, here's another one got hit the last couple of days, getting all those losses back. Ooh. It makes me think on both of these, that there could be some sellers ahead because, you got a little bit of nervous Nellies out there. Obviously, we're going to get some more information once jobs comes out. But I mean, if we remain down here, if the market starts to roll over again, you're getting all the losses back that you had from the last couple of days immediately. I think there could be some fades in a couple of these.
Yeah, PANW climbed back, made a high just 3 days ago at 232.86. Wow, 232.88. You're trading above that. That's been like the recent high of the move as well. So, if you hold above there, I think you got some greener pastures ahead. But even though we're trading above it in the pre-market, wow, that's an all-time high for the stock. Boy, that one's really.
How are the numbers? How are the numbers, Spencer?
Numbers were good. Q4 EPS $1.28 versus $1.17. Sales $658 for $633 million. So beats on the top and bottom line for the Q4. The Q1 EPS guidance was stronger. To in line, $1.04 was the estimate, and 104 to 106 is what they said. Sales guidance was also very strong. So it was good across the board.
Yeah, so we kind of went out of order. Joel and I gave our piece, setting all-time highs on this. I don't know. I think I'd be ringing the register if I was long in the thing and fading because this market is not looking as healthy as it did even a few days ago. Marvel, they're all kind of, lifting here this morning, the earnings replays. Anyways, MRVL, maybe it was, that they were selling them all ahead of the reports yesterday and they weren't expecting much, but wow. Nice lift for MRVL too, but same story. We're getting right back into the area. We were there for a long time. I think this sets up to fade as well. So not saying you should fade every report, but I'm not buying any of them.
And this is just a clear mover with the others because these numbers were not good. Q2 EPS yesterday after the bell, 28 cents versus a 35-cent estimate. Sales, $665 million versus $782 million estimate. So big misses for both Q2 numbers. The Q3 EPS guidance was light by 1 to 5 cents. 30 to 34 cents was the range that he gave. 35 was the estimate. Sales guidance was also light by, let's say, about $60 million. So it was light across the board.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. I mean, here you are, a horrible day yesterday, and now you're bouncing right back to 21.34 high. Your pre-market high is right there at 21.50. I mean, you gotta open up there. You gotta go 21.50, 21.75, 22, or else I'm looking for a fade on this one as well. Made a new low of the move yesterday on big old volume. 1945 was yesterday's low. So I don't know, man. You have a day like yesterday, and then you come in, you're like, oh, I could get out where I was a week ago.
I think so.
I think so too. That's the way I'm feeling. I mean, we got the jobs number coming up at 8:30, so that could be, rosy and get a pop. But I would love to see a pop up in the SPOOs as well for a lower risk shorting opportunity.
NSR is the same thing again. I mean, it got hit yesterday. I'm bouncing right back into these. And, I'm not really analyzing any of the numbers closely here. I'm just saying that, people who have got hit the last few days are getting all their losses back. And that often brings people in. And there's a lot of people, majority of traders do not trade in the pre-market after hours. That's why I'm saying at 9:30, real money could come in. And a lot of your institutional traders do not trade in the pre-market after hours either. Why don't institutions trade the pre-market after hours? There usually isn't the volume there for them. So you come in and let's say you long a couple 100,000 shares of NSR. It's opening up a buck for you, getting all your losses back. That makes me think that there could be some sellers ahead. But that being said, there's some bids in the book, and the stocks are holding up fairly well. So, but if you open up and you start to see some weakness right away, that could be a tell. So just be cautious if you're buying these things up here.
Boy, and if you're paying attention to your charts and you saw that quick pop to 2050, and then you were keen on that level off your dailies, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 highs in a row right at that 2050 area at the end of August. Now you're 60 cents off that. So I think you even see sellers ahead of that. That sellers step down to 2020 as well. 2050 major resistance. If you're looking for a gap fill on the downside, you've got a little ways to go, and really not that far. 19.25 was the top of yesterday's range, so there would be a gap fill there for Finisar.
Last one to report, 5 below. It's just almost a sweep here. They're all up significantly, the ones that reported last night. I know GameStop slightly down, but it's even rallied. FIVE up 11% here. Now, this is not a tech stock. This is a stock that has been hot, but we know the dollar stores, the Dollar Tree and the Dollar General, when they reported, they got really whacked, but they continue to get whacked. I don't know what to say on this one. Maybe expectations were lower because of what Dollar Tree and Dollar General did, but it's the $5 dollar store. But it's a big pop to all-time highs. So Spencer, give us the numbers before we go. We're forgetting Spencer Israel here today, and he's sitting there with that Benzinga Pro in front of him. He's itching to give us those numbers there. Give us those numbers, and then we'll let Joel go.
I'm literally scratching right now. 45 cents versus a 38-cent estimate. So nice beat there. Sales 347 versus $334 million. So beats for both Q2 numbers. The Q3 EPS guidance was higher. By 1 to 2 cents. Sales guidance for Q3 was in line with the estimate. They said comps for the Q2 quarter were up 2.7%. So not bad.
Whew. Well, if you came in long here, you couldn't be any happier. We're trading at the highs of the pre-market session. Pre-market high 128.90. That blows away the former all-time high by $10, 119.70. Once again, you want to see it plow through, 129, 130, keep it going. Another possible, this one, if you get this $2-3 rally off the open and then you come back down through the open, that might be a better opportunity. All the option owners here from 115 to 127, I'm not sure how actively they're traded, what volume, but they could be locking in some gains here. And I guess we should open up like a $10 store, Dennis, because the dollar stores did do well. The $5 stores did well. If we open up like a $10 store.
I mean, that business model works. 6-minute abs.
But it's holding in here. 128.90. That's your pre-market high.
And Dennis,
all right. So move.
You didn't want to do GameStop?
Yeah, might as well. We'll do them all. GameStop here. Full disclosure, I am long GameStop just as a day trade here. I bought the dip, and I'll give you my reasoning in a second.
Okay, well, the Q2 EPS from yesterday after the bell, 5 cents versus an 8-cent estimate. Sales 1.64 versus $1.62 billion. So a mixed report there for the Q2. They reaffirmed their guidance for the fiscal year, the EPS guidance of $3 to $3.35. They reaffirmed their total sales will be down 2 to 6% for the year, and the comps would be down would be flat to down 5%. For the year. They are continuing to engage third parties related to a possible transaction as part of a review of strategic alternatives.
Yeah, and that is why I bought the dip, and nothing to do with these numbers. These numbers were not good. Other things being equal, if there wasn't the strategic options thing on the play, I would not be buying this dip. But last night it got down in the 1530s, 1520s, and I decided to take a nibble. I sold some last night when it bounced back up into the 1580s. I've still got some. I'm hoping it can get back to flat or maybe up into the 1580s. I might sell the rest of it. This, again, is just an overnight trade. But I just thought it was overdone simply because it popped big time.
What happened on that day?
Well, they're talking about strategic options.
No. I'm talking to, was the 2 days ago, the strategic options?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you got a stock that's potentially talking about selling itself. And it dips on earnings. Often what happens is they like to buy those back because this, the reason it's up there isn't, that, this company's, had good fundamental report here or anything like that. It went up because strategic options are there. Well, that's still on they talk about it on the call, and that's still in play here. So if that's still in play, you still get the people who are speculating, hey, maybe there's a deal to be had. And I think they buy it back up. So that's what why I did as well. I think there's a potential. I don't know if there is the potential for that deal. I just think that there could be some more people to buy that back up. So that's my reasoning behind it.
Well, also a lot of people just got caught in that session on Wednesday, right? A lot of shorts got caught, and then you had a quiet day yesterday. So now you're coming back into that bar and you're really not digging into it too far because your 2-day low is down at 1396. So, wow, this is just an absolute no man's land. I'll just look at the range from yesterday in 1614. That was the close. The previous close was 1626. I think 16. I'd step down a little bit on that one if you go into rally mode. See what happens at 16.
I think so. And this, again, is just a trade overnight here. And I probably am going to try it. It's a scalp. And I thought it was a little bit too low in the 1520s and 1530s, which is why I started nibbling. And I think I'll probably be a seller up in the 1580s, 1590s, where there appears to be some other sellers up there too. But we'll see if we can get out. If we can't, obviously, you got to cut those losses too. But I'm just speculating that there could be some M&A players out there that are going to be buying this dip. And that's why I nibble my toe in as well.
All right, S&P futures are still very quiet here, just hanging out down 475 to 28.74 just 3 points off that pre-market low of 28.71, yesterday's low 28.68.
Mattel got a lift last night, and they are talking about a film division. So they're trying to do some other things besides toys. Producing, I jokingly say, some Barbie movies, but I think that was actually some of it. So Mattel here is trading up this morning. Well, it was trading up last night, actually. Not traded really any stock here this morning. There was, I guess 900 shares traded 1573. But did get a little lift on this last night. I'm not sure if this is going to continue to follow through here or not, but that's why it was trading higher last night, was the potential for a Barbie film.
Looking at this one, you popped to 1589, not a ton of volume, but if you go to your dailies, 16 is your level. 1608 was your high on the 29th. And then you had various highs in the lower, I'd say from 1598 to 1616. Those are a series of 5-6 highs. So there's your resistance. If you can pop through there, you got some open territory. another triple top at 1670 area. So we'll see if we can get going, but I see a little bit of resistance here forming at 16, and that's confirmed by the pre-market high of 1590.
Let's move away from all that and talk yesterday's trading action, because holy cow, it was a semi-wreck, I tell you. We talked LRCX, and I said on the show 2 days ago, it's ready to fall off a cliff. I took some heat. There was a couple of people that didn't like that comment there and gave me some heat. Well, it looks like I was right on this one. It fell 10 points yesterday. I said it about Plat Materials too, looking on and falling off a cliff. That was 2 days ago on the show when it was 42.5. Kissed almost $40 there yesterday, so got ugly. Taking on the chin on Micron, because that was one that actually, obviously, I have in my long-term investment portfolio, but it got hit as well. I added to it yesterday. I don't know why I did that, but I said I would. So when I got down to 45, I now have my full Micron position. I think I got my cost basis down to about $52 here now. But anyways, long-term investment portfolio, that is not a trade. As a trade, these things look ugly here right now. We know that I'm a momentum trader, but a contrarian investor. And when there's blood in the waters, I often stick a little bit in my long-term portfolio, trying not to look at it. People are going to say, well, yeah, it's got a low P, but that's just because it's cyclical. But even that said, I mean, the P is so low, even if the earnings come down a little bit, it's still going to have a low P. I'm a PE investor from a valuation. I'm a PE investor. Really look at valuation a lot when I'm going to my investment portfolio. But again, that has nothing to do with trading. And right now, valuation almost matters zero in trading. And low PE seem to just get lower right now. But I think some of these are long-term buys.
Dennis, be honest. Do you have a sell order out at 52 to get out of everything?
No,
be honest.
No.
I'm
And certain stocks I do. If it's a swing trade, I would. I stuck this in the long-term portfolio, and I'm planning on trying not to look at it. I mean, if it got back up there tomorrow, would I turn around and say, oh, if it's going fast, maybe? I got to stop doing it, though. I'll tell you, I really have run into troubles. And maybe it's because I've started doing the radio show, and I'm talking so much about my long-term portfolio that it gets me thinking about it, because we have different listeners on the show. We've got the short-term trader listeners. We've got, a lot of swing trade listeners, and we have long-term investors. So we try to cater to all of those listeners. So sometimes I talk with my long-term investing hat. Sometimes I talk with my trading hat. I'd say 80% of the time I'm talking with my trading hat. But I think it's actually affecting me in a negative way in my long-term portfolio, because I'm trading my long-term portfolio more than I should. So I got to go back to what I was doing before, where I find good companies, put in my long-term portfolio, and don't look at them. And that's how you can get some really big winners, because if you're trading your long-term investment portfolio, you're never going to get those winners where you have 50%, 100%, 200%, because you trade out of them too soon.
Well, you did sell your Kraft Heinz.
Yeah, and again, I'm trading the long-term investment portfolio. So that was a good, sale right now, because I can get it cheaper. But that being said, I'm still trading my long-term portfolio. And will I regret that 5 years from now when I don't buy it back? Maybe. So it was stuck in the long-term portfolio. I'm doing it too much. I'm trading my long-term investments, and I shouldn't be doing that. So maybe I should just buy ETFs for my long-term investments, because I don't ever trade out the ETFs because they're easier to hold. Maybe I should just be doing that and not trying to do the stocks, because I talk it so much. I've always had fun doing the stocks, which is why I continue to do it in the long-term portfolio. And I feel like I find some value, and I feel like I've done a pretty okay job with it, but I got to stop trading it.
Okay, just real quick in the chat, we got a question here about Constellation Brands trading up $1.38. I do see the support that you're asking about in there. You got a pair of lows at 206.40, 30 area. So I would keep an eye on that if you're trying to protect some longs. I think what's really interesting, though, in this stock is if it can punch through 211.50. Your 2 and 3 day highs are 211.30, 211.50. I see another high at 211.38. So if it can bust through there, trading up $1.38, I'm not sure if it's on any kind of light volume here, but I can see the range that you're talking about. I can see the support. And I can see the resistance as well here in Constellation Brands.
What's the headline on ST Zebra? Do we know?
It's only up $1.30.
No, that's a big move for a beverage maker, though. Like just like a food stock / it usually doesn't move around a buck or two. Is that just?
Let me see here.
Is there something on it?
The only thing I see is that.
Yeah. Go ahead. You got Spencer?
Well, Tim Seymour recommended it yesterday on Fast Money, but that's all I saw.
You know what?
So
it's unbelievable.
But I wouldn't say that's it. I wouldn't.
You know, it is though. I bet you it is.
I wouldn't.
I'll tell you. Like they come on and did he pitch it? Was the actual pitch? They move on those things when they pitch these stocks. When Karen Feinerman pitches like some small company, it goes up 3-4% because she pitches. It usually comes right back down. And it's not saying that Karen has bad picks or anything. You know, Karen. You know, it's nothing to do with their picks. It's just that people get so excited they can trade after hours in these retail accounts and they chase these things up to levels they shouldn't be chasing them. And then the real money comes in the next day and it has trouble opening that high. So they're often fades initially because they get these lifts that usually are short-lived. But I mean, sometimes when Kramer talks about something, there's follow through, but Kramer is more like an analyst. I mean, he has like got more influence than anyone on CNBC. So when he says something, it can move the stock, like we were talking with CGC this morning. But even the smaller people that are coming on, like he gets these technical analysts coming on, and they're moving them now too. And I think it's just because we're in such a bull run. There's so many, you know, not saying, you know, but there's so many people with, you know, that can trade after hours now, retail traders, that they're watching this stuff and they're just immediately doing what they say. And I mean, just blindly buying or selling a stock because somebody likes it on CNBC or doesn't like it on CNBC just sounds to me like a recipe for disaster. Do your own homework. But you're seeing it happen all the time here now, where they're really moving, they were like 3-4% sometimes off of, you know, somebody likes the chart on CNBC.
Yeah, I mean, you use it primarily as a fading tool.
Oh, I
right?
fade it all the time. Yeah, I fade it all the time. Yeah, I mean, why? You know, when you see it, and not long-term fade, just as short-term overnight trades. I mean, this thing's going to pop 3-4% because somebody likes the chart. It's usually not sustainable. Sometimes you get it, you know, sometimes it has fall through and sometimes you can lose on those, but I'm a trader that, you know, works edges and works the statistics, and normally those things come back in. They seem to come back in. They're not sustainable because real money, you know, the institutional players aren't following, you know, CNBC recommendations, and it's real money that really moves the prices around. So after hours, you can move a stock that, you know, that might trade millions of shares. You can move a stock on a couple thousand shares after hours because there's nothing in there. Real money comes in, real liquidity comes in at 9:30, and the stock comes back down to where it was, or it doesn't even go up to where it was previously. So
okay, all right, we got 2 minutes before the jobs.
I'm gonna hop off. You guys go do some ratings or something, or if you want to preview the jobs number, I'm gonna hop off, try to trade this report, see what happens. Back at you in 5 minutes.
Okay. All right, Spencer, you got a preview there of the jobs number. What are they looking for? Like 190,000 increase or something? I can't find my notes where I wrote that down.
That is what we're looking for private payrolls. 190,000 jobs. Remember, the prior reading was 170,000. As far as non-farm payrolls, we're looking for 191. 157 was last month's reading. Unemployment rate, we are looking for that to fall to 3.8%, down from 3.9% last month. And that will be coming out here in just under a minute.
Okay. All right. The SPOOs, I've been watching them since early this morning. Just been trading in a really tight range here, and that tight range has been that we're kind of getting on the lower end of the range. Lower end of the range has been 28.7350. The upper end of the range here since 6:45 has been 76.25. That also represents mid-range on the session. It's a soft number that I like to track just for reversals or validations of moves here. So real tight range. 76.25 has been our minor resistance. 73.5 has been support. Pre-market low is down to 28.71. Not a lot of relevance there. 28.68 now. That was your low from yesterday. We'll see you here. Jobs report imminent. Rick Santelli smiling. We are coming out. SPOOs are just not moving here. 74.5, 73.5 here. We're at the lower end of the range.
So the non-farm payroll number, remember, we're looking for 191,000. That is actually 201,000. So 10,000 above the estimate for the non-farm payroll figure. The private payroll figure, 204,000 jobs versus 190,000 job estimate. So big beats for non-farm and private payrolls. Unemployment rate, 3.9%. So staying steady with last month's reading.
Okay, strong number right there, Spencer.
That's a lot of new jobs.
That's a lot of new jobs, and with a lot of new jobs means we may have inflation, and we got to worry that the Fed is behind the curve of raising interest rates. So now the prospect of further interest rates is casting a pall over the market. They've hit it. We've broken out of the lower end of the range. That lower end of the range was 73.50. We got a low tick here at 68.75. That is not quite yesterday's low. It's 68 even. We are trying to rebound here, but right now the key number is going to be 28.68 even. That was your low from yesterday. We got some work to do underneath that, but until that is taken out, support is support. My next major level after that is down at 28.54.75. That was your August 23rd low. Trying to rebound here. Let me take a look at some of your financial stocks. Good, right? Higher interest rates is good for your financial stocks. So with the SPOOs down 0.25%, you do have Bank America now trading into green by almost 2% here. 30.93 tick. I see JP Morgan showing some green here, up 23 cents. Let me check. Goldman is still in the red. Morgan's still in the red. Citigroup showing a little bit of green here. So there's the financials. Let's see. Let's go to like your AT&T and your Verizon, which could be hurt by higher interest rates. They're not moving a whole lot. T's down a dime here at 32.08. You have Verizon here down 41 cents at 53.88, though Verizon's had a nice run. SPOOs are trying to rebound here, 28.72. I just saw a print there. I'm going to adjust my resistance level now. Mid-range on the session is 75.25. That's the bogey you need to get back on the upside. Spencer, I have a feeling Dennis is going to be busy here for a few minutes. So do you want to talk? They're asking here about Mr. Musk and we on the Joe Rogan podcast. Do you want to give a quick recap of that while Dennis is banging out some trades?
Sure. I mean,
I know you don't want to, but
I
mean, you got to do what the crowd wants, and the crowd wants to hear about it.
Give the people what they want. Okay, so Reuters had a funny headline this morning. I'm going to read you directly the headline from Reuters. This is at 7:05 a.m. Tesla shares down 1.2%. Pre-market CEO Musk smokes weed on podcast, which is not a string of words you typically read on Reuters, but that is the news this morning. I can't imagine that's the reason why Tesla. Maybe it is the reason why Tesla's down this morning. What do I know? But basically, Elon Musk went on a podcast. It's a very, very, very popular podcast, the Joe Rogan Experience. He gets guests on for like an hour. They hang out, they chat, they talk about whatever. And Elon partook in some recreational activities while on the podcast. I don't think this is a big deal. But I guess you'd be surprised if the CEO of your investment was seen smoking weed. I don't really know what the big deal is, honestly, but and again, I'm not an investor in Tesla.
Was it a podcast?
Yeah, but it's like a podcast, and they do record videos and stuff also. So
you didn't catch my stupid joke. I said
no.
Podcast.
Oh, podcast. Oh, that was good. I didn't hear you, but I misheard. But that was a good one. No, I don't know, man. This is just one of those things where Dennis thinks maybe he needs to just stay out of the public and stay home all day. But I don't know, Joel. What do you think?
I mean, I agree. I mean, it's just I don't know. Why would you want to do that?
Hey,
I mean, it's fine to do things in your own, your own privacy or whatever, but it's going to catch, it's going to catch the street. It's going to catch wind, and it's just major breakdown here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to interrupt you. Just as I was saying that, an 8K from Tesla came out. Their chief accounting officer just resigned, seconds ago.
Oi, you got to be kidding me.
So that's a mess.
That is
Tesla's just a mess. I mean, this is one of the worst possible investments that I put in. I'm down 15% a week or 2 weeks. That's I don't even know what to say about it. I probably should dump it, but I'm trying to just close my eyes and not look at it and believed the story, and I think I got suckered into the story way too late. So, anyways, this is a mess.
The accounting officer, the financial officer, anything in that area leaving.
What's he doing? Smoking pot on a podcast now? You're telling me?
Why is
what the hell's going on?
Why is the accounting officer leaving?
Why is he smoking pot on like a stream? What's going on? This guy's got to get it together, man. He can't figure, like, he's a CEO of a company. Can't be doing that. Illegal activities on. You got an SEC investigation on you, and you're sitting on a podcast smoking pot. Now everybody's jumping ship. They're all scared. I mean, he's done enough things here that should warrant me just changing my investment thesis and take the loss and move on.
Apparently, so the guy who's resigning, Dave Morton, I'm hearing that he joined the company on August 6th.
No.
And okay, so this is a quote from him. Since I joined Tesla on August 6th, the level of public attention placed on the company as well as the pace within the company have exceeded my expectations. As a result, this caused me to reconsider my future. Okay, so that is not as bad as I would have thought. It's not like it's not like the books are totally screwed. He just didn't like the amount of scrutiny on Tesla. Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. I don't think it makes a whole lot of difference at all. I mean, accounting officer gone. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to speculate about the accounting of the company or anything, but he's probably watching that podcast last night. And he's like, what the hell am I doing?
What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
The CEO smoking pot on TV here? What company am I working for here? That's terrible. The accounting officer resigns, but I can't believe that. It's, I think it should have been down 14 points before that, just on him smoking pot. Like, is there a video of this? Can we find the video of this to actually see? Like, did he actually, is this true? He really smoked pot? You're telling me this for the first time. So I'm just like, what the hell is he
mention it on the PreMarket
I don't
show?
know if there's video, so.
Yeah, but I didn't, he mentioned it, but you're telling me for the first time, I never saw the video, so I'm getting it from you. So
where you,
I want to know, is there an actual video of him? Chad, help us out. Is there an actual video of him smoking pot?
Yes, it's on BZ Tokyo.
Holy cow, this is just a garbage stock. If they are garbage, the company itself, but that's craziness. The CEO, he's killing him. He's on an SEC investigation, and he's still tweeting stuff. They haven't taken his Twitter account away yet. And now he's smoking pot on a podcast.
So I think
that everybody can see. He's doing illegal activities that everybody can see. What's he thinking, man?
They're going to pull him.
So
they're going to pull him. I'm telling you.
Without him, I mean, the guy's a genius. Just stop him from socializing with people. Lock him up and let him think. Lock him up in Tesla. Tesla, take him, put him in a box, put him in there, and just use his brain. Because the guy's smart. He's doing some amazing things. But man, is he doing some dumb things in the social atmosphere. He's got to stop tweeting. Don't smoke pot. You're CEO. It's not legal, and maybe it's going to legal, but it's not right now.
Well,
don't do that stuff.
It is legal, in the state. I assume they were in California. So,
well, whatever. You don't do it. What's that saying about you're running a company? It's illegal in what? 48 of the 50 is.
No, it's legal more than that. It's about to be illegal.
Anyways, do you agree with me, Joel? Should he be
I totally agree with you. What would Jason think, right now, if we did that on the show? I mean, we'd be pulled, we'd be fired. I mean, it's just
we're going to sit here and spark up because it's legal in a few states. Let's just spark up here. I'll give you I'll get all stoned here, and I'll give you my trading analysis and see, if you like my trading analysis.
Try that. You should try
maybe I trade better. Maybe I wouldn't have bought Tesla stock.
Okay. All right. Dennis. Let's get back. We're in some serious.
Anyways, this thing's through all the support now. 265. You're going back. You just want to go technically. You're going back to the lows that we tested back just when they had their debacle there in the spring when it got down to 244. I mean, that's where it looks like it's going to test. It's been an absolute free fall basically since I bought the stock. The stock that I hated forever. And I somehow suckered myself and talked myself into buying it. And now it's just in free fall. So I don't know what to say.
Okay. It's 1575.
Whatever I say on this, do the opposite. This is a stock I obviously can't trade.
Okay. We are just making new lows in the session here. 265. I was looking at this thing yesterday, and I'm like, when you come down to like major support and you just close there and you don't like repel away from it. And someone asked earlier in the chat about ATVI, and I know the stock has been a great performer, but like when you're sitting at these three lows here, just at 71, you close at 71.96. I mean, the last three times it just bolted out of there. This time it's just it's holding there. And that, Dennis, that's how you called the LRCX, and that's what you called the AMAR, made the AMAR calls. You need to be using these levels, support and resistance, to go, either way. If it breaks the support, and I know we have people spinning, I know we have some other people in the chat that like to short things, but use these levels, both ways. And, the example here with Tesla, I don't know if the street knew what was going on, but you had all this monthly support at, 273, 275, and, you hit 77.18 yesterday, 81 close. And then, of course, you have no way to, figure what's going to happen. But boy, oh boy. But let's talk the market here, Dennis. There was some fireworks there. Did I see the financials moved up a little bit? Did you see anything get hit?
Yeah, the financials are strong, actually. Everything is getting hit. Everything except the financials is getting hit. So we have some major movement here now. If I look at my screen here, basically you're seeing a few defensive names in the green here. Some of your food stocks are trying to hold up here. But, I mean, the TLT is getting whacked too, so that's still not good for some of your defensive names. But the banks are higher. So the banks did catch a bid. Bank of America was trading in the red. It's now at 30.95, so they are catching a bit of a bid here. But if you're looking for strength, there's, just the financials really across the board. I'm seeing weakness in a lot of other sectors, and, that's indicative. China was strong coming in, very strong. They were bouncing here this morning. They've given back some of those gains, and now if you look at Alibaba, is now up only $1. It was up over $2 this morning. But FXI is actually in the red here now, so I take it back. Maybe it was just an Alibaba thing. EEM has turned to the red here too, so you're seeing China get back some gains there too. I mean, it's pretty much ugliness across the board here right now. Definitely continued weakness here. And if you look even at the semi stocks here, which got annihilated yesterday, they have now turned in the red too. They were bouncing a little bit this morning. Micron was trading actually up about 60, 70 cents. It's only up 20 cents now. So you are seeing some weakness spill over into pretty much everything except the banks.
All right, and I can only give you as good a number as I gave you guys earlier in the show, and I think I repeated it just from the number. 68 even was yesterday's low. You have matched that in the pre-market session exactly to the tick with a 68 even low. So as we speak right now, buyers are stepping up. 68 even was your lowest level since August 24th. When you had a 56 and a quarter low, and actually there's two lows right in that area. So for right now, that support at 28.68 is holding up. We're not exactly roaring out of there, but that could be the key to more downside on the session. I'm not going to be comfortable looking at any longs until we can clear mid-range on the session at 28.74.75. But as we speak, SPOOs are trying to get off the mat. Crude is now flat. I see resistance at 69 or 68, 68.08, your pre-market high. And Tesla, just let me look here. I'm going to have to go to the monthlies now since you have breached that former low of the move. And Dennis, you don't want to hear this, but back in April of 2018, we had a 244.59 low. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I said. I already said that.
I don't remember that. I don't remember
I think it's going to 240.
I
already said that. 244 is where we're going, I think.
Okay.
So what do we do there? Who knows? I mean, now it's getting to a point where I'm going to sell it now. I'm down like 70 points here in like a matter of days.
It's
so I don't know. Is it overdone? Maybe.
It's not a loss if you never sell. Just hold.
Yeah, well, and I did stick this in my long-term portfolio. This wasn't a trade. I wish it was a trade. I would have been out of it a long time ago, but I wanted to sell. I've wanted to sell it since I bought it. I've talked about selling it for the last week, and it continues to go lower here. But again, talking about my long-term investments, somehow
let's move on.
So let's move on. We're a trading show here. Let's talk the trades.
Okay.
And if I stop talking my long-term investments, maybe I'll stop trading it so much. Anyways, move to the ratings here. We haven't talked those yet. There is 4 or 5 of note. We got LUV catching an upgrade at Argus. That is bid up here in the pre-market. We've got a pair trade from Bank of America. They are upgrading AK Steel. They are downgrading Reliance Steel. Also in the steel sector, NUE announced a buyback, so it's bid up as well. We've got Teva trading down. They're downgraded at Credit Suisse. And we got Wells Fargo downgraded at Macquarie. It has obviously bounced back to the green because the banks are trading higher.
Okay. All right. You just ripped off 5 in a row there. We'll start with the LUV. Love, you said that got an upgrade?
Yes.
All right. Up 47 cents here, bucking the market trend. This one has really come back. Trading at 61.50. Let's see what we got here. 61.75. That was your high from yesterday. So there's a good target on the upside. And then if it continues to go 62.55, 62.74, the recent high of the moves, but I don't see it. I don't see it getting there. SPOOs are knocking on the door here of another leg down. We are trading at 28.68 even. That was yesterday's low. It's not going to hold up. We'll see what kind of downdraft we get through this level. AK Steel, it's a low price stock. And let's see, how's that doing? AKS, I don't know if we have any AK Steel traders here. That's just flat.
It's up 8 cents. It's up 2%. So I'd say flat, but it's not. It's up 2% because of $4 stock. So it is a pretty good move.
True. A lot of, I'm just looking at the dailies here, and there's just a wall at 450. You've had your last 6, 7, 8 highs between 440 and 450, 20 cents away from that. NUE is doing a buyback. Buybacks are good. You just never know when they're going to actually do it. Printing 65 here.
It printed up to 65 last night. I shorted 65 last night because I thought it was overdone. So I'm actually short NUE here right now. Sticking with it. Has not made a trade here today. Again, this is just an overnight trade. I thought it was overdone. I think it's going to open higher. I don't think I'm going to be able to cover it flat or anything like that, but I'd like to cover it in the lower 64s. So just a scalp trade. I thought 65 was overdone, especially since the tape hasn't been as strong and they haven't really, on the buybacks, they've seemed to pop them initially, but then they don't seem to love them as much as some of the other things. So I faded the NUE.
Okay. All right. It had been in the trading range with the top of the trading range at 64.50. Yesterday's high to fill the gap, 64.14. So there's some levels to keep an eye on. Teva, TEVA, that stock, I know it wasn't Warren's actual buy. Wow, that thing's really come in here. Yeah. I didn't see that get to, it got to 25.96. Now trading down here at 21.26. I see a pair of lows to keep an eye on right here, right now, 21.31 and 21.35. Where your lows on August 2nd, August 3rd, you're trading right there right now. You better catch a bid. There goes we just saw Pierce at 28.68, hit a few stops, still 67.50. Let's see how we end this bracket here. I'm not going to throw the towel in on that 28.68 support until we get a close there. And I'll go on the 15-minute chart on that one. So SPOO's still trying to hang in there. Bank of America still green. JP Morgan still green. And
how are all those stocks that were way up here? Let's go back and look at some of these earnings stocks. AVGO still holding on. PANW, just curious if there's any. No, you know what? They're all holding up still. So they're not hitting any of those earnings stocks yet. Marvel's come down a little bit there. Finisar is still hanging out and 5 below. So they're all holding up fairly well here still, the earnings stocks that popped. So we'll have to see what happens once the regular session starts and if there's any profit taking or not. Square actually is in the red here, SQ and AMD. Let's look at both of those because those are the 2 honey badger stocks. AMD, not a honey badger stock here this morning, is trading down 3% here. I think it topped out at 30. So, but we said that before, and it's obviously come back in a couple times and then just proceeded to make new highs. So again, I'll say the same thing that I said when it was at 25 after the highs. I said, I think it needs to do some work. It did 5 days of work and then blasted off. So it needs to do the same thing. It needs to consolidate for a few days, do some work. That's the only way, I can see it continuing to go higher here. It's not going to just go straight back up. They typically don't do that. Usually it needs 3-4 days of consolidation and then tries to find a new base to catapult up from. If it can do that, it's still obviously got the chance here. But I think if you're just buying it here, hoping, it's going to do that, I'd rather wait for a few days. I mean, the last time it gave you 3-4 days, formed a little flag there and then blasted off. So I don't want to just randomly buy a pullback, hoping that, well, it's going to come right back. Because right now this market sentiment has turned, especially we're in September now. The last 3 days really hasn't been good for the overall market.
No, and there was a lot of talk. Oh, September is the worst month of the year, and going back like to 1950, we were talking about that. Also, I haven't mentioned it. I mentioned it a few times. You got the Jewish holidays starting on Sunday night and Monday, and there is the old adage, sell Rosh Hashanah and buy Yom Kippur. I was thinking of like a new twist this year, and I don't know. Mark is giving me a little heebie-jeebies on it, but we'll see here. Just a little seasonal trade. And you just think we just went up and made a new all-time high, and now we're pulling back. I mean, this is like, this could just be another healthy correction here. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean,
We're not getting on the full bear train here. I mean, some stocks are a mess. The semis are an absolute mess. Wynn Resorts, and you wonder if there's going to be some capitulation here. If that was capitulation yesterday, I'm not sure. But here's a stock that 3 months ago was $200. It's now $127. I mean, these casino stocks are absolutely annihilated. And I use that word carefully because actually somebody yelled at me yesterday for using the word annihilated. So sorry, I shouldn't use that word. It's extreme, but no, it was a Twitter follower, and I just said, yeah, I guess it was an extreme word to use. I mean, we're on a live radio show, we're winging the whole thing, so sometimes some things, might use some extreme words. But I look at this chart, it does not look pretty. So definitely not a good looking chart. Las Vegas Sands, the same thing. $82 to $61 here over the course of the last 3 months. These casino stocks are not pretty.
I just want to illustrate your point here on the consolidation. Pull up the daily chart of Wynn here, please, Spencer. You had a gap down, a breakdown, a rally, and then you rallied up and you sat still for like 4 days, and you had a trading range from 147 to, let's call it 152. And it just was very, very quiet. And that's the consolidation. So was it that obviously the recent trend has been down? So, you took out the lower end of that the bottom end of that range, and you took absolutely no heat. But I wanted to, we brought up a different chart. I think you were talking about AMD with that. So, markets are crazy. They have crazy highs and lows and stuff, but sometimes your best indicators can be from consolidation periods. So, and that was a consolidation, and that was a consolidation to go lower, trading lower this morning as well. I go to my monthly charts when I get stuff like this, and you just see that back in April of 2017, you had a 124.11 low. So if you're keeping an eye or you want another target, there it is for you, 124.11, your August 2017 low.
This is going to be a really tricky day because you think overall weakness in the market. You think, well, maybe, some of the defensive names are going to rally, but with the weakness over in the TLT a little bit here too, you're seeing XLU actually get hit pretty hard here. And that's because interest rates go up. It's not good for your utilities, which is not good for some of your defensive names like your T and Verizon. But, the natural defensive nature is, you want to buy those stocks in a big down market because they tend to perform better. So it's a tricky day. I mean, the only thing, like I said, I'm really seeing green, and they're not green by much as the banks. So they wanted to hit this market. I mean, you think about in the summer, when we were running through, in the July and August, it seemed like no matter what news we got, they seemed to want to buy it higher here. It just feels like it's kind of turned to a certain extent here, that they're now looking for reasons to sell, at least short term. And, here we get a hot number. We've had hot numbers before. And, obviously the market is trading down significantly on it now. So it's funny how sentiment matters so much. And when you get some people that are nervous, they will find reasons to sell. And if you get the same number, which we had in the summer, they weren't selling it. So it's about identifying, when that has turned. And sentiment shifted here. It hasn't shifted for all stocks, and definitely not some of the pot stocks that continue to, go higher here, despite, a little bit of weakness this morning. But I mean, you got to identify those turns in sentiment, and if you can do that, you can make a lot of money.
Okay. All right. We are looking. We're holding that support right now, folks. We did take it out by a couple ticks. Just not banging out of there. 28, 70, 50, 67, 50 is your pre-market low. Still waiting for the close of this bracket here. 5 minutes. See if we close above that 28.68. We covered a lot of stuff. We covered earnings. Did we cover all the ratings, Spencer?
I mean, yeah, there was only like 4 or 5 that I thought were worth noting. We covered AK Steel. We covered Southwest. We covered, we didn't talk Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo caught a downgrade from Macquarie to neutral.
Doesn't matter. That's going to move with the banks. So you might see it maybe like a 0.5% weaker relative to the other banks, but they almost tend to move together. So I pair trade these things all together all the time. So not saying it's going to come right back. It's probably going to be one of the weaker ones because of the downgrade. You can see Bank of America trading up 0.4%. You can see JP Morgan trading up in the green and Citigroup trading in the green. Wells Fargo still slightly in the red, but it's not one that's getting hit down a buck or something on a downgrade here. They care more about what's happening with interest rates. And it seems like analyst moves on the big banks never have that much impact. To me.
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, they trade together. It's more. Yeah. You know what? I'm looking overall here at just Bank of America. I'm just, I'm not going to make any, short-term comments on it. But if you're a long-term holder here in Bank of America, I'd be real concerned if this thing does not get back over 59.53. Here's a widely traded stock. Heavy volume, and you have. Well, it's only September right now. But your July high was 59.26. Your August high was 59.53. And so far, your high this month has been 59.19. So it's shaping up here for major resistance here in Wells Fargo. It's still a couple bucks away, $1.50 away. But for you long-term investors in Wells Fargo, keep an eye on that level. Let's see, what else do we have? What else do we have moving here, Dennis? We should highlight. We got about
everything. Everything is moving. You can just pick your poison here. It's all moving to the downside. You can look at, let's look at, Boeing, Caterpillar, stocks that have had pretty decent recent runs. Even as of yesterday, you actually saw this trade really happening with sell growth, buy value yesterday. You really saw this rotation happening and buying names that obviously have lower multiples there. I don't know if that's going to continue today here or not, because you're seeing all those stocks get hit here today. Caterpillar got bought up yesterday. Deere got bought up a bit yesterday. Boeing, we're just looking, at some of those recent trade war stocks there. And now they're trading in the red here. I think you could see a little continuation of it, though. I'm just kind of, I don't know. I'm more keen to looking at rips to sell as opposed to dips to buy right now. And we're obviously on a big dip here this morning. So maybe you look at some of these value names that are getting hit here this morning. Maybe that's the more attractive ones to buy. I don't know. That we've seen this trade happen before, though, where it goes 3-4 days, where it goes from growth to value, and then it just eventually comes back into growth. So I'm not sure if we're spooked enough here yet to continue that. Obviously, some of these value names have been ridiculously cheap for a long time. I don't know if that continues or not, but it's a tricky tape today.
My final comment is we are just not repelling off this yesterday's low at 28. Yeah, so there's some more work to do on the downside. I see interday low at 28.64, but I would not be surprised here to see 28.55 trade in the spoos today. You had 2 lows, August 23rd and August 24th at 54.75 and 56.25. So those some 4 more targets for you. At ARWR, I looked at that. It had a good day yesterday. You want to see it follow through. You don't want to see it leak or go red on the session. It sold off. Surely you got to get out of the way if it takes out 18.
What stock?
ARWR.
Holy cow. Where'd you get this one from?
I got it from someone in the chat.
Okay. I know nothing about this company.
Neither do I.
Big pop yesterday.
Yeah, it had the pop and the drop and opened at the low of the session, rallied up to 22.39. It's holding the close here at 19.39. You want to see it stay green and challenge that high. Spencer, you want to wrap things up?
Before we do, can I get some imbalances, Dennis? Anything of note today?
No, and it's early here yet. And what typically happens when you have a turn, and we were kind of just trading slightly down and we were trading significantly down, You typically get these orders coming overnight. So really, you'll see this change a lot here in the next 20-25 minutes as institutions will come in with sell orders. The only thing I see significant here is Twitter, which is still getting annihilated. I actually got out of this just in time. I had this on for a swing trade, and I sold it at 34 bucks 3 days ago when the market started to look like it was ready to roll over. Wish I would have went short because it's down over 10% since I sold it 2 days ago. 95,000 to sell, 100,000 to sell now on Twitter. GE 123,000 to sell, just the eternal weakness, and even with value, and I don't know if there's value in GE or not, but some people think there is. It really didn't even get a pop yesterday. GE's just in a world of hurt. AT&T 127,000 to buy. We talked about that earlier. That's interesting, so there is some value traders looking to buy maybe there. HPQ 116,000 to buy. I'm not sure if there's news there or something, but that stands out on a day that we're significantly down. GM 40,000 to buy. So you are seeing some buy imbalances in some of the more value oriented names. GM and Ford had terrible days again yesterday. I mean, Ford looks like it's ready to fall off a cliff here too. I'm probably going to eat this loss on my long-term portfolio there because it's just getting too ugly and I don't know what's going on. It's like we're not going to drive cars at all anymore because it's not only like it used to be like, oh, Tesla would go up and Ford and GM would go down. Now they just seem to hit Ford, GM, Tesla, hit all. Are we not going to drive cars anymore? Is that what the market really thinks? I mean, Ford's got a 6.35% dividend. Doesn't matter, that it makes money. I mean, they look at this and they think they're not going to make as much money as they did in the future. There was people talking yesterday I saw going by, is the dividend safe? I mean, holy cow. These things, if you think we are going to continue to drive cars, there is some value here. But, man, I think these have been value traps, and maybe they remain value traps.
All right, guys, I got to hop here. I got things to do, places to go.
Places to go.
Have a good one, guys. I'm out of here.
All right, we're out of here, too. That's going to be it for us today. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you on Monday. I'll be here with Dennis on Monday. Have a good one.